Ladies and gentlemen,
Hey YouTube, welcome back to Garfield of the Week. It's that show where I read you the weekly Garfield. Today's Garfield, it's okay. It's okay, I'm gonna get through it. And then we're gonna talk about something even cooler that happened earlier in the week in Garfield comics. Jim Davis gave us a super throwback. He Hail Married a throwback. And so I'm gonna get through today's Garfield comic, which will take me like 20 seconds. Because nothing happens. And then we'll talk about what happened in the Daily Garfield earlier this week. Right now, I'm gonna read you today's Garfield. We're back at the title panel again. It's back to the title. It always starts with the title panel. It'd be wrong if it didn't. And today's is the same as usual. It's Garfield in a weird art style, and it says Garfield. Didn't see that one coming. First panel, we got Odie. He's just running like a dog, chasing a leaf that's flying through the air. He says, bark, bark, bark. Second panel, it's the same thing, but in the other direction. Bark, bark, bark. Fourth panel, guess what? Same thing, but in the other direction. This time he says 4 barks, and Garfield's in the frame. The leaf falls on the ground, and the leaf itself starts panting. It goes pant, pant, pant. And Odie's panting as well. Oh, and then in the next panel, the leaf springs into action, and it starts flying away again. Odie chases it again. He just says bark, bark, bark. And then Garfield looks at the screen, breaking the fourth wall, and he says, play date. There you go. Today's Garfield. 5 out of 10. That was a very 5 out of 10 Garfield. But I want to talk to you guys about what happened earlier this week in Garfield lore. It was on Thursday, the 30th. There was a really great Garfield comic, which was funny on its own. It was a really good comic. And it was all about advertising and commercial breaks and how terrible they are. And I'll read it to you really quick. In the first panel, Garfield is sitting on his couch watching TV. And from the TV it says, and now a word from our sponsor. Blotty, 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 blah. In the second panel, Garfield's still watching the TV, and then the TV says, welcome back. My next guest is the one you've all been waiting for. And then in the third panel, it just says, but first, a word from our sponsor. And I love that. My God, is anybody else mad about how YouTube took a run at ad block lately? And now you're just, no matter how you watch YouTube, you're just getting commercials. It's all, dude, I took ad block for granted. I know that there's like an update I can get to make it better. But man, I just get tired of having to deal with ads all the time. It's just ads after ad after ad. They're all the same thing. They're all stupid. They all tell me about stuff that I already know exists. What's the point of an ad if I already know the thing exists? I don't need a McDonald's ad to tell me that McDonald's exists. I know that McDonald's is a place that has hamburgers. I'm getting hot. I'm getting worked up. And that's how mad ads make me. And especially on YouTube, because they're just, goddamn, are they repetitive? It's every time it's just a Liberty Mutual commercial. Why? Why do I need to know about Liberty Mutual so much? I don't need to see it 10 times in a video. It's just, it doesn't help. It makes me avoid the products more. Okay, sorry. Ad tangent over. Great comic. But it turns out that this is actually a reference to a comic that Jim Davis did before Garfield. It was called Gnorm Gnat, and it was almost the same thing as Garfield, just about a gnat, which is a tiny little bug. Jim Davis really liked Gnorm Gnat, but it didn't get picked up hardly at all. It ran, I think, in only like 1 newspaper. Although he did it for almost 2 years, but his editor hated it. The people who read it other than him just hated it. They were like, what is this character? Why? Nobody connects with bugs. Nobody cares.
Am I a joke to you?
And this whole time, Jim Davis was trying to like make a marketable character. Somehow he landed on making this cat. And it seems like Jim Davis is still attached to Gnorm Gnat. This was a cool reference, right? It was easy to follow. It was a great comic that stood on its own, but knowing that little reference, super cool. Super cool. And I went back and read some Gnorm Gnat comics, and they were good. They were great. It was, funny. It was like early Garfield, where it's just a little more off the wall, a little more character driven. Also, what I thought was funny is that the font is exactly the same. He wrote, it's like using the Garfield font. That's all. Today's Garfield was a little bit boring. It was saved earlier this week by a cool Gnorm Gnat reference. I encourage you to go back and read some Gnorm Gnat because it was worth it. I got through it real quick, but it was pretty cool. Thanks for tuning in to Garfield of the Week again. Tell me more Jim Davis lore. I feel like there's a Jim Davis rabbit hole to go down. I know he's super famous, and I know he probably has done a ton of interviews, but sometimes I just don't want to delve all the way into things. I don't want to pour through the data, right? So if you have any cool, other references to anything else that Jim Davis has done within any recent Garfield comic, feel free to throw it in the comments. Feel free to put your shopping list in the comments if you have nowhere else to write it down. Thanks for watching Garfield of the Week. Have an awesome week. Remember to be nice to yourself and be nice to other people. Bye.